What's up, film lovers? My name's Carl. Welcome to this YouTube channel that I don't really use, but today I'm going to use it to tell you about my physical media pickups for the month of January. In celebration of Giallo January, I picked up two Giallo films. A Black Veil for Lisa on Blu-ray, released through the now defunct Olive Films, and the DVD copy of The House with Laughing Windows from something called Sinister Cinema. About a few days ago, though, Arrow Video announced that they're going to be putting this out on Blu-ray, so excellent timing. So, A Black Veil for Lisa had been on my watch list for a while. I was reminded of it when I was trying to read a very dense book on giallo films, so I went looking for it. It's not streaming legally anywhere, but I got the Blu-ray for like $15. It's headlined by John Mills, father of Haley Mills, who herself famous for the original Parent Trap and Freaky Friday. John Mills, an English actor, he headlined Disney's Swiss Family Robinson, which is a pretty good movie. The film came out in 1968, putting it in between the Mario Bava's 1-2 punch of The Girl Who Knew Too Much and Blood and Black Lace, which really set the stage for the giallo subgenre or style. And then in 1970, Dario Argento puts out The Bird with the Crystal Plumage that popularized the giallo film. The director is Massimo Dallamano, who started his career as a cinematographer. Black Veil is his second movie, and I've seen a couple of his giallo films. I just recently rewatched What Have They Done to Solange. Fantastic film. I upped my score from 4 to 4.5 on a rewatch. It's got that excess sleaze that a lot of giallo films have, but it also does a better job with its investigation part. Giallo films are a form of murder mystery, and a lot of them just don't really have any urgency or effort about the mystery, but this one did pretty well, as does its pseudo-sequel, What Have They Done to Our Daughters, which I need to rewatch. That one's pretty good. I don't know much about Black Veil other than it centers around a narcotic detective. And giallo films are international movies, even though they're generally made in Italy. They love international casts, so its co-stars includes Italian co-stars, German co-stars, and Austrian co-stars, because that's how they roll. So I'm very much looking forward to checking that out. The House with the Laughing Windows is from 1976, so we're basically peak popularity of giallo films. It's about to do the downturn right here, because this is post-Argentino's Animal trilogy as well as Deep Red. And like my favorite, one of my favorite giallo directors, Sergio Martino, had all but finished up in the style. Martino made Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, which has a gothic tinge to it. There's All the Colors of the Dark, psychological horror. Torso's another proto-slasher in the giallo style. And this is another film I don't know much about. I just really always thought the poster was pretty damn cool. And it's well reviewed and well liked among hardcore giallo fans. So I am very much looking forward to checking that out eventually. I sometimes I buy these things and put them in a pile and forget about them. But eventually I will watch that. Sticking with Italian movies, I got a pair of spaghetti westerns, both from legendary Sergio Leone. The first is the recent reissue of Once Upon a Time in the West, which Paramount put out themselves rather than licensing it to a boutique Blu-ray company. And speaking about licensing to a boutique Blu-ray company, A Fistful of Dynamite, or as I know it, Duck You Sucker, which MGM had licensed to Kino Lorber to put out. So I've seen both of these films once, and I've been meaning to rewatch them. It's been a while, so vague memories, but I remember liking them upon seeing them. Once Upon a Time, I remember the scope. It was a very massive epic, and I was really not thrown off, but really impressed by the scope of that, because I'd been just starting to get into westerns, and a lot of them just look like regular soundstage that they film on, and this one just looks so much bigger, and it had great performances. I mean, it's got Henry Fonda playing against Ty Fonda, one of the great actors of classic Hollywood, playing a straight-up villain. And along the ride with him is Charles Bronson, who's just one of the badasses of cinema. But I was very much interested in this film because of when I first saw it, because I heard just how good it was. And I've been meaning to rewatch it for a while. I very much look forward to that. And then A Fistful of Dynamite, which, or I like to call it Duck You Sucker, because that's the title I saw it under. It's the follow-up to Once Upon a Time in the West, and has a white guy playing a Mexican, but, them's were the times, right? Uh, I remember the story about these guys who get together and one kind of misleads the other one into a heist, and it ends up being kind of a fighting against the system type movie. At least that's how I remember it. I could be wrong, but I remember enjoying it a lot when I saw it. I watch movies every day, so things get tied up in my head. So these are two films that I've been really needing to go back and watch, and I definitely remember liking them better than Once Upon a Time in America, which I didn't care for. But yes, my next film is also from Italy. It is I, Vampiri. It comes from us through Radiance Film, which licensed it. And I picked this up because of Mario Bava, who did cinematography on the film and then stepped in to finish directing the film when director Riccardo Freda left after 12 days. Bava finished it up in, I guess, 2 days. Quick turnaround. A major fact about this film is that it was Italy's first horror film of the sound era, and it was released in 1957. So that's wow. The film had a lackluster performance in theaters, and director Riccardo Freda believes it's because the audience didn't like horror. But a few years later, Mario Bava would direct Black Sunday, which would go on to be one of the classics Italian horror movies, a classic of the Italian Gothic cycle. And then, of course, Bava would pick up doing the giallo films, and his Blood and Black Lace from 61 is not just essential to the giallo films, but essential in the slasher genre itself, being basically a proto-slasher. But yes, I, Vampiri. Another film licensed and released through Radiance is Underworld Beauty from director Seijun Suzuki. Seijun Suzuki was one of the most fascinating and important directors in Japanese cinema. He started as an assistant director and eventually ended up at a company called Niketsu. He was what I guess you call a production line director. He made a lot of B movies, so they would get scripts, they would turn them around, and they would be the second feature on a two movie bill. So B film director. So then they would make them quick and cheap. Turning down projects was apparently a bad idea because you could just lose your position. But Suzuki was such a good director, he infused these films with a vision and a style. He would take standard thrillers and just make them more important with the help of his like-minded collaborators. Despite a dedicated fan base, he would his avant-garde Yakuza classic, Branded to Kill, he got fired after that and basically blacklisted. I haven't seen any of his films past Branded to Kill. I've seen several of his films from Branded to Kill before that, except for a Lupin animated movie that he co-directed. But for the most part, I've only seen the Niketsu era films, and they are stylistic. Branded to Kill is a fascinating movie. Beautiful black and white photography, excellent performances, and you could see if you ever see the movie Ghost Dog with Forest Whitaker, you can see how much influence Branded to Kill had on Ghost Dog. My favorite film of him that I've seen though are like Tokyo Drifter and Gate of Flesh. Tokyo Drifter, another Yakuza film, glorious color, and Gate of Flesh also glorious color as well. They're very pop. 8 Hours of Terror is a fantastic black and white movie he did. So, but apparently this is his first movie in CinemaScope, and the first time he used the pseudonym Seijun Suzuki. So it's about a recently released gangster looking to reclaim stolen diamonds, and it's a Japanese noir film, and I like Japanese noir films, so eventually I'm going to check this out. I have a whole lot of Japanese movies and also some Chinese language movies that I need to get to. Maybe I'll do a whole month of them. Speaking of noir, I picked up the French Noir collection from Kino Lorber. I've been eyeing this for a while. They had a sale, so picked it up. It features 3 films: Speaking of Murder, Back to the Wall, Witness in the City. Letterboxd gave all of these really good scores, with Speaking of Murder at 3.4 out of 5, which is the lowest. The other two 3.6 out of 5. The film star Gene Gabin, Gene Moreau, Lino Ventura. I think they each headline one of these three movies. I do like that image though. I don't know much about this, and I probably won't tune in until Noir-Vember, but I do love my noir films. And one of my and I've seen a handful of French noir films. I think Elevator at the Gallows is a fantastic movie. If you ever get a chance to see it, you should check that out. Next up, I bought this one off of eBay. It's a double feature Blu-ray of Hammer films, right there. Yeah, Never Take Candy from a Stranger and Scream of Fear. This one's got put out by Columbia Pictures. So I actually picked this up because of the YouTube channel Cobweb channel. They were talking about Never Take Candy from a Stranger, which I had never heard of, and it sounded pretty heavy and got really good Letterboxd score. So I was very interested. It wasn't streaming anywhere, but I have seen Scream of Fear before, and I really liked Scream of Fear, about a wheelchair-bound woman who goes home to see her father, and her stepmom says he's away, but she begins to believe she sees the corpse of her dad around. So I actually kind of wanted to revisit that one as well. But yes, this sounds like a good time. Sailor Suit and Machine Gun. This is actually the first Arrow movie I've purposely bought for myself for a while. I've been pissed off at them since the thing that went down with the Mind of Joe Coffin box set. It was a series of Brazilian horror films. I pre-ordered it through Diabolic DVD before I had an account at Arrow Video. And when I got it, just around the time I got it, there was apparently a problem with one of the discs. They gave this information about how to get it replaced. I followed the information, and everybody who emailed me from actual Arrow fucking Video didn't do their goddamn job, so I never got the replacement disc on them. So I've been very pissed off about Arrow for about a year. But, I had gift card money, and this one sounded pretty cool. It's about a young girl who inherits a Yakuza clan. So, though it's like over 2 hours long, so hopefully they'll fill it up pretty well. Oh, there's 2 run times. But like I said, I have a lot of Japanese language films I got to get to. Not a pickup, but since I was talking about replacement discs, I got to give a shout out to Severin Video. I just recently watched their film, Italian miniseries, Private Crimes, from director Sergio Martino, who I mentioned did a bunch of giallo films, and headlined by Edwig Fenech, who starred in a bunch of giallo films. And the second disc was fucking up on me. I emailed him on a Sunday, and I didn't expect for an answer for a few days. But I asked him, is there a problem with disc 2? Did I miss an announcement? I had just gotten this as a gift and opened it up. And they emailed me that day, said, no, but we're going to ship you out a replacement disc. I didn't even give them my information. They had to look it up. And I got it 3 days later. I haven't opened up this yet, but that is the kind of service I like. Shout out to Severin Video. That is really fucking cool. Fast turnaround, and I was just curious. I wasn't actually even expecting to get a disc, but that was cool. So and Severin Video, they have some very, very interesting offerings. I'm still working through the recent folk horror box set. I'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, so if you ever get Private Crimes is a very interesting 4-part Italian mystery miniseries. So it might be interesting to you. It is it's on VOD on Amazon. And that is my physical media pickups. I will try to make content when I feel like it. But I hope you enjoyed this video.